Hello everyone, I'm Mark Suxford and I want to welcome you all to my new podcast called People Behind Brands, brought to you by Making Websites Better. Throughout the series, I'll be opening up my little black book of contacts where I'll be joined by an inspirational guest from the world of business, getting to the bottom of what made them so successful. In each episode, I'll be touching upon the highs and the lows that every professional has faced along the way. To never miss an episode, subscribe to our exclusive content now and follow us on our social media platforms. People Behind Brands. Life lessons from the world of business. Starting up a new business in the midst of a global pandemic is always something to be admired. We've seen many businesses shutting up shop between 2019 and 2021. But for Lorna Wilson of Mnched, the determination to make her startup venture become a success is there for all to see. In amongst her passion for business, Lorna bravely opens up about some of the hardships she's endured over the last few months. This includes the harrowing moment she found a lump on her arm and subsequent chemotherapy-like treatment that followed, as well as her young son being rushed into hospital in another traumatic encounter. All in the space of setting up her new company. So despite everything, this is a woman who has strong resilience to keep on going and strive for more. So let's see what this incredible woman has to say. Okay, Lorna, welcome to the show. Great to have you with us. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, very well. Really good to have you on. So Lorna joins us today to talk about her brand new company, Mnched, the world's first portable stainless steel cutlery and drawer set, complete with a dishwasher safe case. Mnched combines beautiful design with convenience and quality to be used wherever and whenever. Mnched was created by Lorna this summer, which has obviously been a tricky time for business post-pandemic. Nonetheless, she has explored a gap in the market and set out on her journey to be an independent business owner. During this episode, we will, of course, be delving into Lorna's personal life and explore her achievements and challenges along the way. So, Lorna, I think the first question has to be, what made you want to start a business during what has been a difficult time with many companies falling victim and obviously shutting up shop post-COVID?
Yeah, good question. I've actually always wanted to start my own business. Even when I was leaving school, I put in the yearbook, in 10 years' time, I'm going to have my own cosmetics company. Yeah. That's obviously not something that I've gone on to do, but it's always been in the back of my head that one day I would start a business. And I think where I turned that I will was when I had my son 3 years ago. When I was on mat leave, I really dug deep into trends and was looking for products that would really solve a problem in people's lives. So I actually had another product that I was thinking about launching pre-pandemic, and then obviously switched it for Mnched. But I'd set aside a budget that I was willing to lose, because obviously we know that not all businesses are going to succeed. So really, when I came about with the idea for Mnched, I was ready and set to go. It'd been something I've been thinking about for a long time. And obviously lots of businesses have launched during the pandemic. I think people have had a mindset change and a chance to reflect on what they really want to do.
Yeah, completely agree. So before the summer and, your new business as a whole, what kind of background were you in before embarking on this kind of project?
So my background is in marketing and advertising. So I've worked with some really big brands in my career, for anything from biscuits to ice cream, men's deodorant, cameras, engine oil. Not my most glamorous, but actually one that's been really influential in Mnched. And I do their brand strategy right through to their creative execution. So I know how to take a brand from an awareness piece right into conversion, which is obviously exactly what you need to do when launching a business. But actually that's been the engine oil part of it has been really instrumental in building Mnched, because we had a project where we had to try and find the difference between two types of engine oil. And basically my boss one weekend went home, built some tools in his shed, came back, sold it into the client, and then we had to spend the next year and a half trying to figure out how to take these things that he'd made in his shed one weekend and turn it into a product, completely design it, find a manufacturer, and then launch it into a market. And I honestly don't think without that project, I would have known the process of actually having an idea how to get it made and find a manufacturer. So my career so far has really helped influence all the lead up to the business.
Yeah. So in terms of Mnched, talk to us more about that gap in the market you've found, and the products that you offer for your customers.
So I'm going to start with the story behind it, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
So last summer, when the pandemic hit and we thought we were going to be going back to the office, never happened for a very long time in my company, but they basically said they're going to be getting rid of all cutlery, all crockery, everything from all the cupboards. And so I looked for my own portable cutlery set and to see what was available in the market, and everything was like really teeny tiny, kind of made for children, or wrapped in cloth, or you had to like screw cutlery together every time you used it. And that was just never something that I was going to be doing every lunchtime. And I'd also just listened to a podcast with Sarah, I think you pronounce it Kaus. She's the founder of Swell.
Okay.
And she'd said how she'd taken a really functional item, a water bottle, and basically turned that into a fashion accessory.
Yeah.
And I thought there's definitely something there, the rise of Swell, Chile, and there's huge amount of water bottles companies around, that actually no one's taken a really functional item and kind of made it into a more design-led accessory. And I did a lot of research with people, and there was clearly that people had a lot of worries about using things like communal cutlery, as well as not wanting to use single use. So there was where I found my niche, and it was clear that people were looking for a great quality product that they could have in their bag every day, but it didn't feel like a compromise by them having to use it. I think all the other products at the time, that nothing I found anyway was great or good quality. And like I said, the cloth pouches, that didn't seem particularly hygienic for me. You're eating on the go. What are you going to do when you can't wash up?
Yeah, I know what you mean. So as with any industry, starting out and making a name for yourself is always tough. But what would you say is the company USP?
I think at the heart of it, it has to be great product that is solving a true need, and really listening to what customers want. I did a lot of research into actually what are the things that people would want from this product. One of the things that came back from that, I was originally going to put a teaspoon into the set, but actually people were like, no, we want a straw. And that is something that I hadn't thought about at all. But there's a massive hate out there. Just look on Twitter, people complaining about paper straws all over the place. And so metal straws do make such a difference in people's lives. They also wanted it to like clip into place, so that it didn't rattle in their bags, and it was really important that case was like completely sealable. So actually, if you are on the go, you can't wash up, you can just put it back inside, and not have to worry about it until you get home.
Yeah, it sounds like an easy and sort of convenient sort of product to use, and I think that's obviously, like you say, the good USP there. So, as I mentioned earlier, Mnched was born this summer. So, as a new company, what have been the biggest challenges that you've experienced so far in such a short period of time?
I feel like there's been a lot. Manufacturing has definitely been a huge one. Trying to actually get the product right. When I was going through that process, my manufacturer was saying, I don't think we can get the clip that the cutlery goes into, and that was one of the massive USPs. And I don't have a background in manufacturing. I'm not a product designer, and luckily it turns out one of my friends' boyfriends is actually a product designer. I wish I'd known that at the start of the project, because then I would have obviously used him. But it shows that you do need to be open and honest with people and have conversations and tell people what's going on, because generally you can then find someone who knows someone who can help you. And in that manufacturing process, just out of the good of his heart, he then came up with loads of different solutions for my manufacturer to help solve that. Another one I think would be shipping, which I think a lot of brands have been finding at the moment. The just shipping lead times at the moment are just crazy. So from ordering the product, I wanted to launch originally when we were all able to eat outside again, and people, if it was in like middle of March, so we could go on picnics, meet our friends, and that would have been a really nice, great PR story to kind of launch with. But the shipping time just took so long that I don't even think I got the product in. I finished ordering mid-December maybe, and I don't think I got it until mid-April. So there was a huge delay in shipping, and I think that that's something that's going to continue, where I can't see that complete sales forecast at the moment. I don't know when to order more product or when not to, knowing there's going to be that lag. So there's definitely a logistics issue that's still ongoing. Another one it's actually been my time, because actually I do still have a full-time job. I have a son, and I'm running this business, obviously looking to convert it into my full-time, but at the moment it's very much a side hustle. And having it is a real struggle. I obviously working during the day, I pick up my son, and then I spend my hours at night. That kind of is, I guess, time that some people might be watching TV or just relaxing. That's when I'm really working on the business and driving it forward. So that's something that I'm very precious with, but something that I'm probably struggling with at the moment, to always find the time and the energy and kind of the mindset to be able to do that.
So despite those challenges that you mentioned there, COVID-19 seems to be kind of the making of your new business, but how would you say it's impacted you as a person and your family? I know you said that you've got a son there, so how old's your son?
My son, he's 3 in October.
Okay.
So he's really, I'm quite glad he's that age in a way, because he won't remember the pandemic at all. I think he will think of it as a really lovely time, because we actually ended up living back at my parents'. My brothers were there, and so there was a real family unit of us all together during COVID. And even though we couldn't see anyone else, we had quite a lot of us, and they've really got to see my son grow up. I think they've got a much better relationship with him than they would have if we didn't have COVID. So I've got really fond memories as a family, and realizing that's definitely like one of my core values and something that's really, really important to me. So I think it's just given time to reflect a bit, hasn't it, on what matters to you.
I completely agree. I think it's important to have that sort of time to reflect, I think. But the aim of this podcast is to delve deeper into the background and personalities of people behind their brands. What have been some of the personal challenges or hardships that have either challenged you as a person or your outlook on life, or led you to where you are today?
I think actually the last 8 months have probably been the most challenging for me. And this isn't something that I've ever talked about before, but in February, I found a lump on my arm. And probably it's quite a large lump, and probably spent a month, and actually had a doctor tell me they thought I had sarcoma, which is a type of cancer. It's turned out that I don't have sarcoma, but I do have a tumor on my arm that's growing and behaving like cancer, and having to go through a type of, they actually treat it with a kind of mild chemotherapy to treat that. So going through that at the moment, it's not the same as obviously having cancer, but it does have some side effects to it. I, following kind of that month of turmoil, thinking I might have that, my son then got rushed into hospital and had to have emergency surgery because he had a cyst in his bowel that burst open. And he then was in hospital, and I was in hospital with him for the next couple of weeks, and then following on from his recovery of that, luckily he's completely fine. And I think the knock-on effect of being in hospital, not getting any sleep, being very stressed, is that I then got pneumonia. So I was extremely ill with pneumonia at the same time as launching Mnched, actually.
Yeah.
So it's been a really tough year for kind of me and my family, but it just shows resilience, and you've got to keep positive, keep pushing on. There's been times where I've just felt, no, I'm just going to stop everything, but actually I am really ambitious, and I know that I get a lot of fulfillment from creating a business and creating something for myself. It's kind of my other baby. So there was never any chance that I was going to, despite everything that's been going on, I definitely wanted to keep going. So I know that I've got a very determined, resilient mindset, and I think that will be the success of the business.
Appreciate you giving that side of your life. It sounds like a really kind of, as you say, turmoil in that year, but the resilience is there, and you seem to be sort of cracking on with that. And the new business, I suppose, helps to give you that that full focus that you kind of need, away from the kind of the personal turmoil, and just giving you that outlook, I suppose. But what would you say is the next chapter, or the big plans for the future that you want to achieve?
Well, I definitely want to continue to build awareness. We're in the first 6 months, so we still need to continue to get the name out of Mnched. I want to go into different countries, go into retail, and I think my most frequently asked question is, when are you going to be launching a kids range? So that's definitely something that I'm looking into at the moment, and we'll be hopefully launching a kids range at some point in the next year.
Excellent. Sounds good. So if there's one life lesson you could give to your younger self, or someone listening that can learn from your experiences, what would it be?
I think it would be to always stay curious, continue to question, and don't be afraid to be that person in the room that kind of raises your hand when something doesn't feel quite right. And ask that kind of difficult question, because I think quite often we all just sit there in silence and no one says anything. But actually, once one person kind of breaks that silence and says something, a lot of people tend to agree. So you can open up that conversation a lot more. So I think that would be the advice. It doesn't always make you the most popular person, but it does mean that people want to bring you into that room and want to hear your opinion.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think with the questioning that you're saying there, I think it's always important to ask good questions. And if you're not sure of something, then you ask a question. It's, if you don't buy a ticket, you can't win a raffle at the end of the day. So, Lorna, it's been an absolute pleasure to meet you and get to know you. Thanks for coming on and sharing your life lessons with us on the podcast. Hope your son and yourself are, gonna smash it with the new business, and hope everything's all right in the personal sort of stuff that you mentioned earlier. But perhaps you might like to tell the listeners where they can find Mnched online and the buying process.
Thank you so much for having me on. So you can find us at www.mnched.com, which is MNCHED, and you just buy it through our website direct.
Excellent. So can your customers find you on social media as well?
Yeah, you can find us on social media at We Are Mnched.
Excellent. So thank you, Lorna. People behind brands and making websites better is all about supporting new business with new and innovative ideas. If you're looking for a new website and digital marketing, please head over to www.mwb-agency.com or www.mwb-digital.com for more information. In the meantime, you can find all our episodes wherever you get your podcasts from. We'll see you next time for more life lessons from the world of business.
So that's it for this episode of People Behind Brands. I'd love to hear from you all, so if you want to get in touch, follow us on our social media platforms. If you like what you heard, please rate and subscribe to our exclusive content now. Join us next time for a brand new guest on the podcast as we explore yet more life lessons from the world of business. We'll see you soon. Ta-da!